Hi, I'm Jonathon Marc Mendes, Painted Love, and today I've teamed up with Dunelm to create some Christmas crafty projects. So for today's project, I've decided to make a table runner. This time last year, I made this table runner with upholstery fabric. It's got that real thickness and luxurious feel, and I thought that we would do today's Christmas project with a different fabric which fits my Christmas table. So first up, I'm taking a few table measurements. I'm gonna literally draw a small diagram of the table. And then I'm going to add an overhang to each end of about 20 centimetres. Now, most shop bought table runners are only about 30 centimetres in width. This is double that, which adds a real impact to your tables. So this is the fabric that I've chosen. It's a Bambara Heather check. I'm using the check as a cheat in the tutorial. I'm going to follow the lines. It makes it so much easier and much quicker to do. And I'm not going to do it in the traditional way of creating a pocket and turn it inside out. I'm going to be working on this fabric face to face, which again is a lot simpler. You need a long table. If you haven't got a long table, you could work from the floor. Oh, that's just perfect. Now I'm going to have to find the center point. My measurement across each end is about 62 centimetres, so that will be my seam allowance. Where are we? 62. There we are. That'll be the next one. So mark just on the fabric. That's where it's going to be folded, and this is the one it's going to be cut. So I'm just going to double check my checks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then on the other side, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and a little bit extra, which I can trim off. I'm going to use the red check as the line to cut down. It makes it far easier when it comes to measuring out when you've got all of these gridded patterns on the fabric. I love that sound of the scissors crunching through the fabric. Gorgeous. So just to neaten up the edge, the last bit needs to come off is this seam here. That's that. I'm just going to fold over, like I said, half the square. It gives me that 4 centimetre seam allowance. I'm going to do the two lengths first, and then I'm going to turn the ends afterwards. Now, if you was working with cotton fabric without a check in this, you're going to have to do a lot more clever measurements. So you should end up with something a little like that. As you can see, the red line is halfway through. So on the internal of this table runner, you'll have the same on both sides. So you'll have this weighty seam on both sides. And now all I've got to do is fold over the end seam, but we're doubling up on the corners, of course, because on the corners, we're going to have a lot of bulk to stitch through. So make sure it's really nice and pressed. The beauty, as I said, of working front face up is that you can now see it will line up beautifully on both sides when this is stitched together. My top tip for pinning is just to literally pop a pin in like so through both the layers, because if you need to stitch over a pin, you can. I pull the pins as I go along before the machine hits the actual pin. So we're going to go all along, maybe every 2 squares with a pin. The corners of this is quite bulky, so you're going to have to take your time and slowly work through it. I'm placing the fabric under the foot and I'm lining up, keeping the fabric square, the edge of the foot along the edge of the seam, which will give me the most perfect stitch line, just under 1 centimetre to the edge of the fabric. Turn manually first, a couple of stitches, before pressing down on the foot pedal. And because there's lots of bulk in this corner, I'm going to have to help guide it through. There we go. So now that I'm beyond that corner, it will get much easier for the stitching. And it's kind of really neat. It's like a sandwich of fabric. When you do this with your own project, I want you to work down one side seam, and rather than going round the corner and going in a full square, you need to come straight back to this side and maybe flip over so that it literally lays the fabric down. So let's get stuck in. Keep your fabric taut, pulling on both layers and allowing the machine to guide it through. Here we have it, the finished article. Just another light pressing and it's good to go on the table. Table runner is complete. All that's left now is just to smooth out any lumps and bumps, and it's ready for my Christmas table decorations. Now this year I've decided to go with a little bit of burgundy to match into the table runner. I'm looking forward to setting the table for Christmas dinner. And remember guys, when Grandma spills the gravy on this side of the runner, you can just reverse it for Boxing Day. So if you enjoyed today's tutorial and want to make one of your own table runners, please don't forget to like, comment, or even better, subscribe. Take care.